Good morning, Romany Rye. I'm in Conwy Bell this morning. Look. Anyway, what I'm going to say this morning, I've already done a recording of something actually, but I woke up this morning about, 4 o'clock, and I got to thinking about things. And some of the things I might say today might offend somebody or people. If it does, I apologise. There's no offence meant to be. Now, I was born into the scrap metal job. And I think if you're a scrap man, you'll always be a scrap man. Even if you change what you're doing in the middle, you'll always be a scrap man. And make no mistake about it, I'm a scrap man. And the proof is in the pudding, they say. So I went from a front garden, a side garden, to the first successful 1,000 tons of scrap that left Truro Quay. Fact, written down for anybody to see. And people in the trade know. Now, God bless him, Malcolm did it before me, Malcolm Drew. But he had trouble with his, with the deal that went through. But the first successful one was me, by myself. So I consider myself to be a scrap man. Now, none of us can help how we're born, what we're born into. But what I get angered about is, no, anger's not the right word. What I get amazed about is people that say they're scrap men. Well, this is what I like to say. Give these men, these social scrap men, take it all away. Take it all away from them. Give them 100 quid and a truck, mind you, and say, right, go call and see what you can get. Now, cold calling, there's an art to it. And if you can't converse with people, if you can't get them along a little bit, if you can't diversify your conversation onto other things, within a few minutes of talking to somebody, I can tell what they like. Within a few minutes. Whichever way I ask my questions, my knowledge, my technique is mine. Only to be passed on to my son, nobody else. There is an art to it. And people that say that they're scrap men, they haven't got a clue. I can tell you that for nothing. So when you come from the bottom, and you've got to make every little bit of metal count, every bit of gas count, that's when you can say you're a scrap man. When you've done it all, I say none of us have done it all, but when you've done the jobs, when you've cut down the big gantries, when you've cut out the big crushers and cut the big buses up, when you've done all that, then you are a scrap man. Now, with today's technology and the way things are, you don't have to have that skill, because provided you're paying the right prices and you've got the internet and you've got everything else, people will come to you. But I'm just curious to know, you see, because I've been thinking about this. My grandfather and my father started that business. So there was no cold calling that had to be done. Now, the reason I can call is because I went everywhere with my grandfather. As I said before, I've been to places when I was a young boy, and the people up in bangs didn't even want to know, but you've come away with the gear. Now, there's an art to it, as I said. So, I'd just like to say at this point in time, my son, Brian, on the waste soil job now, that's what he's mainly on. We do have a bit of scrap interest, but I can put my hand on that Bible and on my art, right? There's no finer man to go and get a job regarding his job I've ever seen. He just haven't learned the art yet. See, anybody can earn money when you're travelers, like I'm talking about now, but it's keeping it. You've got to be able to keep that level, because lots of the times what we do is only short-lived. So, yes, my son is, I swear on my mum and dad's grave, he can get to work, no problem at all. He just likes having a good time. Well, that's up to you, innit? But so what I'm getting at is foundations of businesses have evolved from, like, my generation and older, where you had to call for it and you had to get it. Today's youngsters, take it away from them, give them under bar and say, right, there you go, there's your truck, see if you get on. I don't reckon many of them would even go past the garden gate or past the factory office, because I can tell you this much. When I was disowned and no thought was given to me, it was either sink or swim. And I would call anybody. And if I couldn't get past the security, if I couldn't get past whatever, I'd write them letters. I'd make a copy of that letter. If they didn't reply, when I go up to security, I show them the letter. I said, I wrote this letter, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm expecting a reply, and I haven't had it yet. 9 times out of 10, that would get me through security, at least to the office. And then I go and speak to the person I need to speak to. So, all of those things, what I'm telling you, are techniques of us travelers, the way we get our living. So, I was coming around to my point now. I am a scrap man. First and foremost, That's what I am. Born into it. The other day I done a demolition job. And there was a crusher. I'm going to put a video up of this very shortly. And buildings that I took down. Because I'm in the position now, I've got the machinery to do it. So, me and one other chap, that's what we've done this job. I had to test myself. Done all the cutting myself. 95% of the machine driving. 100% of the loading of the bins. So, I know I still got it. Because although I'm an old man, you never forget scrap jobs. What I'm getting at is, I took all the bearings out the crusher. Now, going right back to my apprenticeship when I was learning to weld, I was working on crushers. But more than that, we scrapped hundreds of them. Now, once enders, I was probably scrapped 70, 80 crushers in my lifetime. And the ones that I've scrapped have always had white metal bearings. Right. So I had a fella come up to me. I was sitting in the yard down there with the burning torch. And I had some stainless steel dog balls there. Running the white metal out the bearings. He said, "What are you running that lead out for? Never worth it." I said, "What do you mean lead?" I said, "That's white metal, mate." What's white metal? Now there's a scrap man who's supposed to be a scrap man. Didn't know what white metal was. Just the same as a lot of people wouldn't know what mercury was. We used to find a lot of mercury in old machinery. Break a glass, tip it into a bottle. I've seen my grandfather have bottles and bottles of mercury. So, you don't know unless you've lived it. That's my opinion. So, going back to my son, he haven't had any major issues when it comes to getting a job, going to seeing a farmer, whoever he got to see. I guarantee 9 times out of 10, he comes out with that job. And I won't disclose the figures because it's not my business, but he done 8 months of work. And I can tell you, it was just figures beyond. Anyway. So, yes, he's had my backing, and I've been into the job, the soil job, before him, and he come up. He learned it off of me. His techniques for calling must be in his blood. So, I go back to myself now. 24 years ago, I come up here. This has all been said before. Got in with an old mush who had the quarry, so we won't need to go over that. So when I was in the quarry, I got into the tipping job. I thought, well, Dory, this is an easy way to make longer. So they gave me the license to do it, the council, because they wanted the material going out the gate. And as I said before, the whole mush that I was involved with, John Brown, he borrowed some level off Mandy. And in the end, I ended up with the crusher for the longer of the old Mandy. And by then, I got a nice bit of kit around me. Started from Nixy's mine. Within 4 years, the whole shebang was down to me. And John Brown gave me the chance, don't get me wrong. But to come from Cornwall to Exeter, I knew one man, I suppose really, two men. G.H. Newbury, Graham Toghill's family, and Jesse Frame. But when you're a travelling man, you soon get to know a lot of people. But it's still hard to go around and try and make yourself established. If you're travelling, like I was travelling for a while, you pop in here, pop in there, bang, 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 and you're on, you're gone. But no, I wanted to put roots down. Because I knew, I was only 40 then, I knew that once I had a base, I'd be all right. So, whilst I was down Clayton's, I got in cold with everybody, didn't I? And everybody knew me within a short time. But I got to say this as well. If ever I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I never mess people about at all. If I can't do it, I'll ring you and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that today. I have to be tomorrow or next week or whatever. So I had a bit of a reputation. And people trusted me. So I went from scrapman to being soil man. So I'm the type of person that likes to learn. If I'm into something, I want to learn about it. So I got in cold with two environment agency fellas. I'll say one is called JC and one is called IF. Now, they fellas was only concerned about the environment, not about what you was doing or what you was tipping. As long as you wouldn't tip in nothing illegal, asbestos or tires or whatever, they'd leave you alone. And I can say to you, I've never buried no asbestos or stuff like that. Not because I'm a trash too, because I just don't like it. And I never went down that route. So those environment officers basically left me alone. And I got a good rapport with them. Because whenever they said, look, Clarence, can you sort that out for next time, my next inspection? I did it. Bang, done. Crossed it off my list. Never messed about. I gained their respect. So when a big job come up on the other side of Newton Abbot, on an old tip that needed finishing, they couldn't put my name forward, but they put my name in the equation, and I got the job. And I made a lot of money off that job. I was working on somebody else's tip to finish it off. So I had to import a load more soil. And the deal was, we shared the expenses. The owner shared the expenses with me. And we had half the tip money. So I was down there working for months. In fact, I bought me first dozer for down there. A little Caterpillar D4. Lovely little machine, beautiful. So I went on, made a bit more money, and I wanted to upgrade the dozer. So I went away and I bought a Komatsu D41. I'm just in the process now of having that completely refurbished. And when I say refurbished, we've gone right through the whole thing. Because that dozer not only did the landscape in here, the landscaping on that other job. It did the landscaping down in Imrish Quarry. That's the only machine we had. Started me off, me and Steve. So I went from scrapman into soil man. And like I said, I got the knowledge. Now, when you get the knowledge, you see, I always say the secret to life is knowing. If you know somebody's running you down, if you know somebody's told a lie on you, or if you know somebody's doing well, what you do with the knowledge is up to you. For instance, if you've got a mush over there running you down, and you know he's running you down, you can either do one or two things. You can either fill his guts with red herrings, or you can confront him. So what I'm saying is, the secret is knowing. So if you know it, what you do with it is up to you. You can kid somebody along for all of their life. But if you know, don't you? So that's the secret. My dear old friend Darcy told me that one. When I used to get upset and nerd and go off the deep end, he used to say to me, sit down, calm down, have a cup of tea. Have a cup of tea now. Think about it. That's what he used to say. Think about what you know. Once you've done that, you can decide what you're going to do about it. So from scrap man to soil man. But the scrap man is still inside me. I still do bits and pieces now, as I told you about that demolition job. Now, my son, Brian, I'm very proud that he can coal the way he can. I just want him to be a little bit more conservative now on what he does. Apart from that, excellent. So now, we're all faced with our time is running out. So now, here on the farm, I got a campsite, which everybody knows about by now. I got some trailers let out. And my motto is today, now, I do as less as possible for as much as possible. Because I'm old man now. And I just want to do what I want to do. But that's what happened when I first come up here. Because listen, make no mistake, 2 times in my life, I've had nothing. And I can tell you, and there's the Bible. There's the Bible there. And I swear on it, as God is my witness. When I split up with my wife, and I had difficulties, I was in a trailer that leaked like a basket. I was on a trailer site with nothing in my putchie. The mush said to me, you can stay here for £25 a week in that caravan. And all it was a little tour. I went to work with Eddie James up at St. Column, driving a digger. Now, what did Mandy do? I had nixies. An old van parked outside. I waited till the sun went down. I went through every trailer that was on that site until I could find one. Opened this one up. There was what I needed. Microwave, pots and pans, cups. But I left a note. I'm borrowing your kitchen utensils. When I leave, I will put it back. just in case they come in the meantime. As it happened, I wasn't there very long. But I'm talking about having nothing. So, I think 3 or 4 days went by. I had a television at home. I took it all back. I wouldn't tore nothing off nobody. I just borrowed it. And, but I had to do what I had to do at the time. That's what I'm getting at. So, when I come up here, nixies. And the first time was when the Ware family done what they done to me. So 2 times in my life, I've had nixies and started from scratch. I don't want to start from scratch anymore. Touch wood, thank the Lord. So, yes, I'm proud of what I've done. But I'm always a scrap man. And I do know me trade. I don't know the new terminologies. And there's guns you can buy now to tell you exactly what things are made of and all the rest of it. I don't know none of that. That's new technology. But the old ways, I do know. So I'm sorry to be a bit preachy this morning about things. So for now, it's goodbye from the Romany Rye, and I'll catch you next time.